Shalom, all praises to Yakalba Page and double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, Bashem Rakah Kodash. My name is Yakalba from Plaintables Camp Philly. This is a video on what Israel did, and what does the Bible say about famine. Should be a short lesson. But first, we're going to play this. Will the U.S. face a food shortage? April 20th, 2022 is when the video was released. It's CNBC. I'm going to play like a minute of this. Mike.
The global food supply was already in a fragile state before the crisis in Ukraine, due to global warming as well as supply chain disruptions caused by the pandemic.
You got to realize that even prior to the invasion, global food stocks were tight. That is, we had run down levels over the last couple of years. Part of that due to the pandemic, but some of it due to the fact that we had weather issues. We had a drought in the North America that affected the wheat crop last year in Canada and parts of the U.S. We're just coming out of a drought in South America, which has adversely affected the Brazil soybean crop. And Brazil's, the largest soybean exporter in the world.
Coming right out of that kind of historic disturbance of the world, boom, we're hit with a really huge geopolitical event.
In response, food costs have climbed to its highest level in nearly 2 years, while prices for commodities like wheat and corn have reached the highest it's been in a decade. The U.S. Department of Agriculture predicts that food-at-home prices will see an increase of up to 4% by the end of 2022.
The United States is already experiencing very high inflation on food and energy prices. There is no question that the war in Ukraine will accelerate the increase in prices in both commodities, that is food, the bread you buy in your grocery store, the gasoline that you have to put in your car or truck.
The United States is a net exporter of a lot of the grains that we're talking about. Those exports are affected by world prices. So we're still going to see increased prices. And again, energy prices are world prices as well, and those are going up. As consumers.
All right, so the link will be in the description box if you want to watch the whole 12 minutes. I started almost in the middle. So what did we, some history on what we did during food shortages or when we needed to eat. So we're gonna start off with Joseph. When Joseph was sold Joseph was sold into slavery, and it was the Lord's program to make it that way so he could preserve Israel. All right. So storage. So Joseph was set up to store food. All right, and this was all engineered by Yahweh. It says Genesis 45:3, and this is when he revealed himself. Joseph deals kindly with his brothers. It says, and Joseph said unto his brethren, I am Joseph. Doth my father yet live? And his brethren could not answer him, for they were troubled at his presence. And Joseph said unto his brethren, come near to me, I pray you. And they came near. Jump down. Now therefore be not grieved nor angry with yourselves that ye sold me hither, for the power did send me before you to preserve life. For these 2 years hath the famine been in the land, and yet there are 5 years, in the which there shall neither be earing nor harvest. And one thing you can observe from this, well, a few things, but that it was only 5 years of famine. No, not 5 years, 7 years. 7 years of famine. It was 2 plus 5. And notice that the famine was over after 7 years. Israel could have went back to the land of Canaan, but the Lord made them get comfortable and made them stay there. And it's only 7 years. Well, no, Israel only experienced five years, because there's 5 years left. So they were already in 2. For these 2 years have famine been in the land. Yeah, so all they had to do was stay there for 5 years, and they could have went back. Just making an observation, but the Lord, allowed them to get comfortable, and they stayed in Egypt because there was more, prophecy that the Lord was going to bring to pass. All right. It says, and the power sent me before you to preserve you a posterity in the earth, and to save your lives by great deliverance. All right. So now it was not you that has sent me hither, but the power, and he hath made me a father to Pharaoh. All right. So when you read, it tells you that Joseph stored corn, and there will I nourish thee, for yet there are 5 years of famine, lest thou and thy household and all that thou hast come to poverty. Yeah, meaning that it was a severe lack of it. So certain crops either weren't growing at all, or it was yielding very little, and it couldn't sustain all the people and the animals. All right, so it was greatly reduced. It says, and behold, so you go to the 41st chapter, and it tells you that Joseph told Pharaoh to take wise men to appoint, says, an office over the land, and to take up the 5th part of the land of Egypt in the 7 plenteous years, and let them gather all the food of those years that come, and lay up corn under the hand of Pharaoh, and let them keep food in the cities. So this solution was to store food, because the famine was going to come. If I'm not mistaken, it was 7 years of plenty and 7 years of famine. You read up to get the full story. All right. And it says, so this solution was to store food. And now we can't store 7 years of food. All right, we can probably store maybe a month, maybe. All right. And that food shall be for store to the land against the 7 years of famine, which shall be in the land of Egypt, that the land perish not through famine. All right. So like a famine. So that was one solution. And this thing was declared in a dream. All right. Yeah, Raib. This is hunger, individuals, famine, a lack, extreme scarcity of food, Darth, famish, Darth. So scarcity or lack of something. And it's referring to food. So that was one way to store food, and this is ordained by Yahweh. All right. And there's another way. It says Matthew 14:15. It says, and when it was evening, his disciples came to him, saying, this is a desert place, and the time is now past. Send the multitude away, that they may go into the villages and buy themselves victuals. But Yahushua said unto them, they need not depart. Give ye them to eat. And they say unto him, we have here but 5 loaves and 2 fishes. He said, bring them hither to me. And he commanded the multitude to sit down on the grass, and they took the 5 loaves and the 2 fishes, and looking up to heaven, he blessed and brake, and gave the loaves to his disciples, and the disciples to the multitude. So he used a spiritual power. He multiplied. He prayed to the Father, Yahweh, and multiplied the fish and the bread and fish and bread. Yeah, and they did all eat and were filled, and they took up of the fragments that remained 12 baskets full. So it could have went like he had a basket with the fish and the bread in there, and he just kept breaking it, and it kept multiplying out of the basket, and he just kept handing it out. Could have went like that. And they that had eaten were about 5,000 men, besides women and children. All right. So Yahushua broke the bread and the fish and multiplied it, so everybody ate. All right, that's one way. That's the second way of my examples. You go to John 14. It says in 11, it says, believe me that I am in the Father, and the Father in me, or else believe me for the very work's sake. Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that believeth on me, the works that I do shall he do also, and greater works than these shall he do, because I go into the Father. So this is the last time. So the Lord's gonna give his elect power, spiritual power, to perform miracles, all right, to feed and to aid, our escape from persecution and from hunger. Now, when you look up miracle, we got Simeon. Shows up as sometimes it shows up as dunamis, I believe, like power, but it shows up in Simeon. Miracle 23 times, wonder, and then token, sign 50 times. So here, miracle. Where did I get this from? I think I got it from Luke. Got it from, and great earthquakes. No, it wasn't that. Right here it says, because he had heard many things of him, and he hoped to have seen some miracle done by him. All right, so what's some miracles that can be done? It says a sign, prodigy, a portent. For example, an unusual occurrence transcending the common course of nature, like getting a basket with bread and fish in it, and just breaking it, and just keep handing the fish and the bread out and putting it into other containers and just handing it out to everybody's fed. Do that with water too. Do that with anything. By spiritual power, by the power of Yahweh. Right, Yahweh Shai did that, and by Yahweh and his son Yahweh Shai Ratazah, we're going to do the same thing. Of signs portending remarkable events soon to happen. All right. And when brothers and sisters see these miracles being done, of miracles and wonders by which the power authenticates the men sent by him. So it could be that when Israel see the Lord's elect doing these miracles, they believe, or by which men prove that the cause they are pleading is God's, is Yahweh's, meaning authenticates. Well, now they're valid. They've been verified. We've been verified. Yahweh Shai Ratazah. All right, so a sign, a token, a mark, a signal. Now we got second Ezra's. The famine is going to happen, whether engineered or authentic. The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Go to 17th verse, it says 2 Ezra 16. Woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? Yeah, because when he saw that vision, he saw himself within that vision. Joe's 21. All right, that was pretty much it there. We'll go to Isaiah 65 and 13. Well, I'm talking 12. Therefore, while I number you to the sword, and ye shall all bow down to the slaughter, because when I called, ye did not answer. When I spake, ye did not hear, but did evil before my eyes, and did choose that wherein I delighted not. We go to the top. It says the rebellious people. So that's going to be the punishment of the rebellious Israelites. All right. Because we're calling, we're bidding Israel to the marriage, but the majority of Israel in America is not listening. Well, all over, but 2/3 aren't listening. Therefore, in America, therefore, 65:13 Isaiah, therefore thus said the Lord Yahweh, behold, my servants shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. Behold, my servants shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty. Behold, my servants shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed. And keywords, well, key part here is, my servants shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. All right. So even if they certain Israelites sell out, and take the implant, the prophecy is that they're gonna, certain of them gonna suffer the famine, and that implant may just be the relief that Esau gonna put in to make it affordable and available food products, meals ready to eat. And lastly, I have Elijah. The drought, the oil multiplied, and the raising of the child, the son. 1 Kings 17. Let's see, I want to start. Well, it says, and Elijah the Tishbite, who was of the inhabitants of Gilead, said unto Ahab, as Yahweh God of Israel liveth, before whom I stand, there shall not be dew nor rain these years, but according to my word. And the word of Yahweh came to him, saying, get thee hence, and turn eastward, and hide thyself by the brook Cherith, that is before Jordan. And it shall be that thou shalt drink of the brook, and I have commanded the ravens to feed thee there. Here's another way that we could be fed. Go into hiding, and the Lord could provide the necessary provisions for us in an area that he tells us to flee to. So he went and did according to the word of Yahweh, for he went and dwelled by the brook Cherith, that is before Jordan. And the ravens brought him bread and flesh in the morning, and bread and flesh in the evening, and he drank of the brook. All right. So where Yahweh writes out where the reserved or the preserved of the Lord, so he's going to take care of us. So you get that point. So the brook eventually dried up. All right. Now, so he arose and went to Zarephath. And when he came to the gate of the city, behold, a widow woman was there gathering of sticks, and he called to her and said, fetch me, I pray thee, a little water in a vessel, that I may drink. Now you can't go to a random stranger woman and say that today. They look at you like you're crazy. It says, and as she was going to fetch it, he called to her and said, bring me, I pray thee, a morsel of bread in thine hand. And she said, as Yahweh thy God liveth, I have not a cake, but a handful of meal in a barrel, and a little oil in a crush. And behold, I am gathering 2 sticks, that I may go in and dress it for me and my son, that we may eat it and die. All right, so let's go back up here. Get thee to Zarephath, which belongeth to Zidon, and dwell there. Behold, I have commanded a widow woman there to sustain thee. So he arose and went. All right. So he was under orders from the Most High, and this woman was under orders. And whether he told her directly in a vision, or he just made her, submissive to his order. Either way, it's the Lord's commandment. So, and Elijah said unto her, fear not, go and do as thou hast said, but make me thereof a little cake first, and bring it unto me, and after make for thee and for thy son. And for thus saith Yahweh, God of Israel. So Elijah already knew what was going to happen. He's prophesying. All right. For thus saith Yahweh of Israel, the barrel of meal shall not waste, neither shall the crush of oil fail until the day that Yahweh sendeth rain upon the earth. All right, so he multiplied the oil. And the meal. I guess that's grain or something. Let me look that up. I think it's grain that bakes like a cake. So flour. Oh yeah, flour. Flour comes from grains. Grind, flour, meal. All right. Says Elijah raises the widow's son. Let's get down to the point. And he said unto her, give me thy son. And he took him out of her bosom and carried him up into a loft where he abode and laid him upon his own bed. He cried unto Yahweh and said, Yahweh my God, hast thou also brought evil upon this widow with whom I sojourned by slaying her son? And he stretched himself upon the child 3 times and cried unto Yahweh and said, O Yahweh my God, not Christ Jesus. All right, let's see. It says Yahweh. All right, not Christ. I pray thee, let this child's soul come unto him again. And Yahweh heard the voice of Elijah, and the soul of the child came into him again, and he revived. All right, so key point here. Yahweh heard him because he called on his name. It's Proverbs 18. All right. Go down to the bottom. And the woman said unto Elijah, now by this Simeon, miracles being done so people can believe, and so the prophet can be authenticated by the miracle. The woman said to Elijah, now by this I know that thou art a man of God. Well, he was a man of God before when he multiplied the oil in the mill, but it just reinforced it more for her, so it seems like. And the woman said to Elijah, now by this I know that thou art a man of Yahweh, that the word of Yahweh is like it, and that the word of Yahweh in thy mouth is true, is truth. All right, so that's how the Lord's elect can be saved from the famine, from death. So we don't have to worry. All right, our faith is in Yahweh and his son Yahweh Shai. All right, so hope this lesson was edifying. Shalom.